Here is the 2025 Mini Countryman S All4 in midnight black. The third generation is here. It's going to be around 5 inches longer, around 4 inches taller with a wheelbase about an inch more. You're getting more power underneath here, sharing the same platform as the X1 and X2 and the same powertrain that's housed underneath the hood. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over the pros and cons, the problem that I have with the new Mini and the comparable rivals. We're going to start up with over 8 inches of clearance. Because of how much taller this is, I understand people that are in the Mini world want a smaller vehicle, but in North America, this is the top seller, so it's going to be a little bit more attractive. And the front fascia highlights the octagonal grille with the honeycomb pattern inside with the S badging, and if you go up to the JCW, they have a new badging, as well as the Mini flat badging with the more pronounced bonnet, reworked LED headlights and daytime runnings. The lower is going to keep the two-tone with front parking sensors, and it's still going to be on the front wheel drive platform. And when you're thinking BMW X1 and X2, it actually started with the Mini, and then they gave us the BMW. And housed underneath the hood is a Mini 2.0 liter twin scroll turbocharged inline 4-cylinder producing 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque paired to a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission reaching 60 around 6.2 seconds. Go to the JCW and you're at 5.2 seconds, getting the X1 and X2 M35i powertrain, which is 312 horsepower, the same torque as this. Now on the exterior, you have 3 different trims, a classic, a favored, and the JCW. This is the favored, so we get 19-inch upgraded wheels. The roof is going to have the gloss black elements. Now you can still do the two tones, so the side view mirror and the roof, but one thing you have noticed is there's no chrome on the lower trim that wraps around the whole Mini. It's now gloss black. And we have a new All4 badging in the rear with flat door handles, and the lower is going to look aggressive for the more lifted up Mini. This is going to be the size more or less of a Subaru Crosstrek in length, width, and height. Not clearance, because you could get around 9 inches there, which this is just over 8 inches. As for competition, it goes against things like Volvo, Mercedes, Audi, even its own class of BMW, in which this outperforms all of those because the price is substantially less and still gaining up to 3,500 pounds of towing. And if you're thinking, well, I want an electric variant, they have that too. The 0 to 60 is not as quick as the JCW, and it's going to have a larger battery pack, so you're going to get a little bit more distance. The rear has got the reworked LED taillights, flat Mini badging, and the Countryman printed across. The lower is not going to be as aggressive as the JCW, but I like that they keep the two-tone contrast. And if you're thinking about Toyota and Honda, because of the price, this is going to outperform it in towing capabilities from a 0 to 60 standpoint, and even interior, because you're going to get more luxury here, plus a better warranty, because you're still getting 4-year 50,000 miles. So if you're thinking, should I go BMW X1 or X2, you may want to look at this. Power liftgate, and you're gaining 25% more cargo capacity with this third gen. It does sit up a little bit. Cargo starts at 25.7 cubic feet. The storage nook, you get a 12-volt charger, LED interior lights. Underneath the floor, you get more storage. But to fold down the rear seats, unfortunately, you still have to go into the back. It's going to split fold at a 40-20-40 split that will increase the cargo capacity to the Mini, maxing to 57.2 cubic feet of storage. But we need to go inside, start it up, so you can hear that exhaust note. Headroom and leg room. The Mini is a lot more grown up for the third generation, and you're going to see the way it sets with the new 9.4-inch OLED touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. To put it into reverse, this has been reconfigured as well. Everything is still going to be used through the Mini Drive. This is Mini Drive 9.0. We're going to show you the reverse camera that shows you the trajectory for the front and the rear. You do have assistance for your parking, to expand the rear, to expand the view, and to line up for the tow hitch. So I like that they have made it a little bit simplified here. 9.4 OLED touchscreen infotainment, which has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. The cool thing about this also is you can put the speedo on here so you can see every single thing working right here in the center, similar to a Tesla. Even the turn signals will be indicated here, but you can change different experiences here. So you can have balance, which will give you kind of like a massage seat. Timeless, I like the clock look for the odometer here. Vivid, green, core, go-kart. And by doing this, it's not only changing the driver mode. To start the vehicle, it's pretty cool because you just turn this, and that's to turn on and off the sound system. The dashboard will have a two-tone texture that creates the warm and welcome feeling of a lot more space, with a large panel moonroof, the auto-dimming rear view mirror, and the wireless charging pad is part of the comfort package. And on this side, you'll notice that we don't necessarily have a gauge cluster. It's a heads-up display that goes through the screen there. Trying to let you see it a little bit more so. Also new is the steering wheel. It's a 3-spoke. You're gonna have this cloth seat belt texture here, and it will change whenever you go into the JCW or the Classic. It's multi-function. Gonna have a nice grip to it, and the stocks derived out of BMW. The new key fob for the Mini. It's derived out of the BMW parts bin, which I like that it has Mini across the back, and I like that they've changed it because if you remember, this is the old key fob. So it's night and day difference. Storage, you're gonna have a ton. So you got storage here, cup holders here. Open this for some more storage. USB ports are gonna be tucked back there with more storage, and it's gonna be soft to touch where it needs to be. And because it's a more open concept, legroom feels a lot more so. The door and the dashboard configuring together. Harman Kardon, that's an upgrade as well. And I like the flush door handles, yet again giving us the two-tone, one touch up and down for the windows, and a long storage pocket with the beverage holder carved out. For the back seats, this is how the seat sits normally, but you can recline these to be a little bit more comfortable. So headroom either way is not going to be a problem, nor is the leg space. So at 6'3", you can fit easily. 2 USB ports, air vents. You have a little storage area here. I wouldn't recommend putting a phone because it'll fall, but you could. Cup holders with armrests, and the door is going to have the same materials that's found in the front, except you're losing the color contrast pattern, but you're still getting the everyday materials everywhere else. With about the same size storage pocket, sliding into the center, the floor is not flat. The rails are pushed up enough. You're going to be sharing some feet space, butt, leg, and shoulder space, and a little bit more so for leg space if the seats are back to the full position. But headroom, not going to be an issue at all. 241 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty impressive that we're getting this much power underneath the hood. 0 to 60 around 6.2 seconds. Let's see what we get. Because of the platform, I'm going to lower it a little. You do feel a little bit of body roll, to be expected though, because it is a taller vehicle. But going around obstacles, you can see you still kind of have that mini drive, so I like that. Now we're going to stop right here so we can really see that 0 to 60 come out. The exhaust note does come in, so I do like that. You feel like you're sitting up higher. The windows are large, so safety is taken care of. There is some blind spots, especially with that new Mini badging in the back. You're gonna feel a pretty big amount of body roll when you're taking bins. I have to take it pretty slow, even on the exit here. Don't get me wrong, it's still a fun to drive vehicle. It's just not quite as crisp as a Mini Cooper, but this is also lifted up, so it's to be expected. So you can still have some fun with it, and you have the All4, so it's a 4-wheel drive system, which is an intelligent drive system that helps with traction. It's just because this is over 4,400 pounds, so it weighs a little bit more, it's taller, it's longer, it's wider, it has all the components that just and it's a front wheel drive platform. So these things are going to alter the drive a little bit. You're not gonna have so much of that go-kart drive. It's gonna feel very similar to the X1 and X2 because it's the same exact car, more or less, just different aesthetics. And the weight is a little bit different, changing the weight distribution by a touch. And that's gonna take me to my pros and cons, and we're gonna start off with the pros. Is the redesign, it looks a lot more cleaned up. Not a huge fan of the interior, so that's going to be a con of the two-tone, especially we don't really get a gauge cluster. We get a heads-up display, and because I'm tall, you have to kind of configure it a little bit more so because of that glass. Kind of wish that it would be an actual heads-up display since we're not getting a gauge cluster was stuck on the steering column before. I do like the 9.4 OLED touchscreen. Just everything is derived through there, in which I've had complications with this vehicle because of the PDI, in which I can't turn up and down the climate control. I can't do anything for configuration of the vehicle because it's all derived through there. So I kind of would have liked to see some actual buttons. Going back to the exterior design though, I feel that they have pretty much nailed it where they should because it still keeps that Mini style look. You're going to hear some of the road noise and the imperfections in the road. You will feel it, especially with these 19-inch wheels. It will come with an 18-inch wheel, and some other pros is because it's longer and a little bit wider. Fitting in every seat is not a problem for tall occupants. Plus, you have nearly 60 cubic feet of storage. That's 25% more storage than the prior gen, which was already big. Taking it to another con though, is it is a lot longer and it feels a lot longer. The pedal doesn't feel so heavy, but you will feel some lag when you go into the S. And thinking about rivals, I mean, if you were to really put this in class with something like Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, it's going to outclass it. So you have to go up into the luxury, in which you're getting 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. So this is basically a BMW, just stripped down with the badging. I like that we're getting the same key fob, and the steering wheel itself feels a lot more aggressive than the prior gen. Just not a huge fan of this Tesla setup that they're doing because it gives a minimalistic look. However, it just feels like it's taking away from the drive a little bit more so, because you're going to be looking at that center screen more than you will the heads-up display to see what's going on for your RPMs, how fast you're going, and your turn signals. For the off-the-line performance, I mean, it's a quick vehicle. Taking me to the problem that I have with the 3rd generation Countryman is everything is derived through this 9.4 OLED touchscreen. And like I've said, I've had some problems because of the PDI, and it's a fresh vehicle. Everything is in here. So I can't control the climate control. I can't change the driving mode select. Can't do anything. Kind of takes a little bit away from the Mini feel. As for turn radius, about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. And there you saw what I mean by you're going to have lag when you go into the S All4. There's no way around it. It does have a lot of power, and once it's spooled up, it is ready to rock and roll. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Mini of Wesley Chapel for giving us this 2025 Mini Countryman S All4 for our car review.